Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast on this Wednesday in Chicago. Adam Hoge, Mark Carman, Greg Braggs Jr. with you as we continue on in this offseason grind that's just beginning.
That's right.
I feel great. I'm so excited for the show today. I've never been more excited to be with the two of you.
Wow, that was convincing.
Yeah, no,
Did you say the two of you or the tooth of you?
Ooh.
Be careful.
Yeah, he's lying. He's lying about him being happy to be here.
Yeah.
We spent the morning screaming at each
Smile.
other on the phone,
Smile.
as we do most mornings.
We don't
Look
do
at
this
that
most
guy.
mornings.
Look at that gorgeous smile.
Look at that. It's back. It's back. I'm back. Tooth is back. Well, it's kind of back. It's a temporary, and then in a couple weeks I have to have the
to get
crown.
the real crown put in, yes.
Yeah.
It's a rare morning for me when I come in at the day after being dragged on Twitter by my fine teammate here, Gregory P.L. Braggs. but I'm so happy to be here with my forever
and
competitor.
ever and ever.
Yeah,
my hero.
Don't worry, there's going to be a meeting about that tweet later. Also later for you CHGO diehards, we're going to experiment with something new today.
Really?
Die Hard Overtime. Yes.
Die Hard Overtime starts today?
Yes.
Wow.
You're
Die
doing
Hard-
it.
Yeah.
Oh,
remember?
great.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm in. I'll do Die Hard Overtime every day, man.
Here's a little, to take you inside this company a little bit. Anything that appears in our Slack channel before about 9 a.m., Carm doesn't read or ever see.
Yep.
It's just, it's a well-known fact. I could tell him he was fired at 7:59 a.m. and
I'd
he
still
would
be here
show
right
up here.
I would. That's not
He'd
the
be
way
ready to go for the show.
When you guys ultimately make that decision, you should call me. Don't put it in Slack.
Don't put it in Slack.
Yes. Yes. We all know that we're counting the days until it happens. So, I'm hoping I got at least like 12 left.
So what is Die Hard Overtime? When this show's over, we're going to keep the conversation going a little bit for the diehards in our brand new, the Discord's not brand new, but the voice channel that we've discovered and executed this week. We're going to keep the chat going there. So if you want to become a CHGO diehard, go to allchgo.com/diehard. Of course, CHGO is your home for the most important offseason in Chicago Bears history. And I want to give a shout out to David, Guy, Mason, and how about this? Thor the Bears fan.
Oh, my God.
All brand new diehards in the last 24 hours. Welcome aboard. We're really excited to have you. Looking forward to Iron Man and Hulk and everyone else joining us soon.
So there's a radio host down in Kansas City, Laszlo the Buzz is his show. He's phenomenal. He's amazingly entertaining, and he would be on his radio show, and when rating season would be coming on, and he'd be literally worried about his job for real. He'd be like, "Listen, I need you to listen longer. My job is online." And this was authentic. He meant this, and not to pressure anybody that is. Doesn't have disposable income, but we need you to become diehards. It's immensely helpful for the show and the company, so we thank those who have done it. And shout out to Laszlo, who's amazingly entertaining and is my hero. So anyway, thanks to all that have done it. So we appreciate it, and yes, let's keep this thing rolling.
Yeah, we had some news too to address. Another offensive coordinator interview reportedly out there today. Thomas Brown, the Panthers offensive coordinator for the last season. He is interviewing. Also, there were a couple familiar Bears and perhaps love that were signed to the roster for next year. At least you can see them in OTAs and stuff like that. From the practice squad, Khalid Kareem. Remember him? Remember how much we talked about Khalid Kareem back in late?
We talked about him on Locker Room Cleanout Day because he was the guy getting pushed around in the
That's right.
the cart.
But it was your guy, Terrell Lewis, that they cut to make room for Kareem.
Of course, why
from
wouldn't they?
The Colts, who I don't think really ever played.
Big impact.
Terrell Lewis played better than Lawrence Taylor in the preseason, and we cut him. Guy was unbelievable.
And no one signed
And then
him.
no one signed him.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. It's not. This is how it works in training camp.
You
We spent a
cannot
lot of
convince
time-
me otherwise. Terrell Lewis would have been
You're right. This was the difference between the Bears winning 7 and 10 games.
How many sacks? And
at least
right
8
there.
or 9.
Did Dominic Robinson have a sack this year? I'd have to look it up.
Didn't really play the second half of the season. Once they signed Montez Sweat, it was like
Somehow
okay,
I think Terrell Lewis would
I
have
mean, who
done
needs
better.
a pass rush?
the Bears. Doug Kramer also
He's back, baby.
is back.
Oh, my God, it's Carm's guy.
Doug Kramer is going to be your starting center week 6 next year, Lawrence. Know that. Kramer, center, Bears.
Use the number 1 overall pick on a center, please. Thomas Brown, by the way, another Sean McVay guy, spent, I think it was 3 seasons in L.A. with the Rams before going to the Panthers. So on one hand, if you want to be like, if you're going to draft draft a quarterback number 1 overall, do you really want to hire the OC that just had Bryce Young?
You don't.
But that's not really fair to the situation. And if anything, I think what you're seeing here is a willingness to interview people, get different thoughts on some things, although even though they are interviewing mostly McVay and Shanahan guys, what mistakes were made with Bryce Young? How is Bryce Young different from Caleb Williams, perhaps? So I think there's value to having these conversations. Also, Thomas Brown is a very good running backs coach.
Right.
And the Bears had a little bit of drama and adversity in their running back room this year with their coaching staff. And I don't know how this is all going to go, but maybe you end up hiring Thomas Brown as a running backs coach / run game coordinator potentially. As we talked about on yesterday's show, not all of these – you could end up with more than one of these guys on the Bears staff. One is the OC. Maybe you have a passing game coordinator or a running game coordinator. Those handing out those types of titles, very possible.
I mean, so it's clear. So how many of these coaches they've interviewed so far meet the McVay or Shanahan criteria? I mean,
all of them except Greg Roman.
All of them except Greg Roman.
Yeah. Who fits the Jim Harbaugh?
Who fits
they didn't hire as head coach?
Who fits the Justin Fields? Let's get information. We're most not going to hire you criteria. I like what the Bears are doing. You don't. There's only so much time in the day, but talking to various candidates, ones that could serve in various roles too, running game coordinator, OC, whatever. You don't know how these things are going to spin. You should use the opportunity that they have right now to get people in the building, find out information, and make more friends. Really, listen. We got a lot of turnover in the good old NFL. So I think they're doing the right things.
And what are the odds? Because I've seen some people putting out like, oh, you can keep one guy as the OC, one guy as the tight end coach, one guy as the running back coach or the running coordinator. Like, what are the odds that of these coaches they've interviewed that they end up hiring more than just one of them to different positions?
It's an interesting. I mean, look, it depends on what these guys get offered, right? Do you have another job offer? You don't? Do you like what we're doing, or can you feel comfortable as feeling like you should be the OC as the running back coach, right? Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of factors here.
And here's what's weird about the timing of all this too is there's so many. This has been a slow moving head coaching cycle, and there's a lot of teams that haven't made hires yet. Now, usually you go into these head coaching interviews with an idea of who your staff's going to be. You kind of line these things up ahead of time. So you might have an idea of other opportunities out there. But, hypothetically, if X coach knows if Harbaugh gets this job, I'm going there with him.
Right.
But you don't know that Harbaugh is getting that job. So you there's a situation a couple years ago that unfolded that I've talked about before, and I can share it. But when the Bears hired Matt Eberflus, they didn't necessarily want to lose Chris Tabor, the special teams coordinator.
Right.
But they were kind of dragging their feet on it a little bit because they were trying to get Rich Bisaccia, who was may or may not going to get the Raiders job and then ended up not getting it and ended up in Green Bay as their special teams coordinator. And Chris Tabor had an opportunity in the meantime to go to Carolina, and he didn't know if he was going to be retained. He knew that the Bears had interest, but he didn't know for sure. There's only 32 of these coordinator jobs out there. And if you're one of those special teams coordinators, you got to make sure you get one of them.
Get a job when you get it.
So he ended up, taking the Panthers job because it was the best security available at the time.
A bird in the hand is worth two in the butt. Is this the old saying,
in the
right?
fist,
Two in the
right?
fist? I
Yeah,
don't know.
what did you just say?
I thought it was two in the butt.
No,
did I
bird
say
in the
it wrong?
hand is worth
What
two in
just
the
happened?
fist.
What?
Is the saying not a bird in the hand is worth two in the butt? Is that not
No.
In the bush.
In the bush.
in the bush?
I thought it was in the
bud.
fist.
In the
What did
Hand
you
and
say? I
fist
said
is
the
the
bud,
same.
in the butt of the flower.
Oh my god.
Oh,
You
So I
idiots.
messed it
I
up.
thought-
too.
I'm glad you said bud.
He said fist. Mine's better.
you
Both
said
are
bud. We're both wrong.
Carb greater than
Both are
Bragg's.
wrong and
Let's
You know,
stupid.
none of you guys
Why are
knew
you putting
about
birds in your fist?
He's like
like in
Joe.
Dumb and Dumber. Pretty bird. Pretty bird. You guys don't understand movie references or music references.
No one understands either of you.
I know Lord Crimson's
we
got
only
it.
understand each other. That's what's important.
That is true. You two have.
We understand you too, Hoge. Don't think that we don't.
Okay.
But we understand each other on a different level.
I didn't. That might be true, but I certainly didn't understand your fist comment. I had no idea where that came
That's
from.
what I thought it was. Seth Grain, $50 super chat. Hoge, read your newsletter and all the content on Caleb Williams. You got me sold on moving on. Also, I swear if we sign Greg Roman, Fields is doomed in Chicago. Can't wait to see him play 13 games a year and average 17 and a half passes.
Okay, Seth, appreciate it.
And
we'll get to the quarterback.
Bears fans always say, like, I can't wait, and then they follow it up with something awful happening to the Bears.
Well, it's called sarcasm.
I know it's sarcasm, but I just no, that's not what we want.
Can you blame them? I mean, every
can't
Bears
blame
fan is like, yes, I know we have this amazing situation ahead of us in this offseason, but how are we going to fuck it up?
Right.
Right? Like, and you can't, this is, I'm not a Lions fan, but I imagine what it's been like to be a Lions fan for all these years, which is why, for them to have the moment they had last weekend, it was like, you could imagine the euphoria of winning one wild card playoff game in your own building.
Yeah.
Well, and look, to the immediate messing it up quotient, if you will, the Matt Eberflus thing, and I'm kind of entertained by the fact that the Flusy is not going anywhere and Lawrence is going to be annoyed all next season, and I'm just holding out that Matt Eberflus can do this with an improved offensive coordinator and all of it. But the Chicago Bears passed on trying to interview Bill Belichick, Jim Harbaugh, who apparently is just going to meet with all teams. He's in Atlanta yesterday. You would think if he's meeting with the Falcons, he would have at least taken an interview with the Bears. I don't think that's too big of a leap, right? Mike Vrabel's got a pretty impressive resume. Don't want to talk to him. We are dialing in on the Flusy. I do wonder how much – was there 100% alignment? I know Paul said that there was, but that's an awful bold thing that the Bears have done to start the offseason, bottom line.
Well, I mean, most off seasons when hiring a head coach, there's these teams that are trying to find that diamond in the rough. At least lately it feels like that. But this feels more like free agency where you're waiting for the big fish to get signed first, and then the domino effect takes place after that. And that's why it's been a slower process of these head coaching hires. Like you said, you got Jim Harbaugh going around, Bill Belichick, you got Mike Vrabel, you've got some different options out there. It doesn't look like Mike Tomlin's leaving the Steelers, but everybody's just kind of in this wait and see interview approach. So I think that's what's part of what slowed everything.
I'd like to ask Adam Hoge a pointed question. If you had been the Bears, Hoge, I forget what you said on this or how hard you've gone on it, would you have interviewed anybody else while you were making the decision to keep Matt Eberflus or not?
You can't do that. What do you mean interview?
Whatever.
Like,
would you have?
You can't.
Okay. Let me say it again. Would you have played the back channel game aggressively?
Yes. Do you know that they didn't do that?
I don't know.
That's what I mean. Everyone keeps talking about.
Well,
you're telling me Kevin Warren didn't have some phone calls behind it. I don't believe that.
Well,
I don't know that, but I imagine there was 48 hours of silence for a reason.
Sure.
There were tough conversations for a reason.
Okay, forget it. Let me ask it a different way.
We also don't know that George McCaskey would have ever allowed Jim Harbaugh to be that.
Because if you had fired Matt Eberflus, then you're in a bidding war with all these teams that are going for Jim Harbaugh. As much as I wanted
And
Bill
Belichick?
and Bill Belichick,
Right, you would have had to
Let's
pay.
say there's three amazing candidates right now, if you're going to throw Vrabel into that. Harbaugh, Belichick, Vrabel. There's 7 openings.
Right.
How do you know you're not going to end up being
because
the team that hires Matt Nagy again?
Once you fire Matt, the other teams, they were firing their coaches because they weren't good. But if the Bears fire a head coach where the team showed progress, you cannot fire Matt Eberflus and then not end up with one of those guys, which then forces you now have no leverage. You have to pay one of those guys an insane amount of money, which I would have done, but I'm just saying that was the position they would have put themselves in.
Okay, so the reason why if I was going to go down that road that I would have confidence in it is because I am the Chicago Bears. I'm not asking you
Have
to
the number 1 pick.
I have the number 1 pick. I have a defense that is on its way. I have DJ Moore. I've got the number 9 pick. I've got a passionate fan base. And by the way, I have an F ton of money in my back pocket that I'm not going to get outbid by anyone because I'm the Bears and money doesn't matter to me because my franchise is worth $8 billion or whatever, $5 billion. So that's would have given me confidence that I could go out and get one of the top 3.
It's fair. It's
So
fair because these other teams don't have the criteria of promise that we have.
It's also like, where do you want to live? Do you want to come to Chicago and be the face of one of the charter franchises in the NFL, or do you want to go hang out in?
It was -9 yesterday.
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
It lasts for
Bad week to make this argument.
Global warming. It lasts for a week. It's gone. It's gonna be. It's a beautiful balmy
Seriously,
16 out there.
People were my friends were golfing on Christmas Eve, and
don't
then
even see
a
snow
week and a
anymore.
half later, it's -30.
Right, for a week, and then it's gonna be gone.
Yeah.
Listen, we got a beautiful lake with great water supply. What's the rest of the world? That's you want to be here.
It is going to be like 40
can
next
handle it.
week,
It's
and
gonna
we're
be
all,
40
we're
next
all going to
week.
be outside in hoodies and shorts.
Right. Come on.
It's going to be great.
It's
Is
not-
it really?
This is the best.
Yeah.
Come on,
Oh, thank
Chicago the
God.
king.
Yeah.
I mean, remind me what
So
the jobs
the other
are out
question I wanted to ask you guys is, does it? What I'm not. Can I ask a
there.
question?
You can. I just don't know if we completely fin. Do we? I want you like these things like you. Do we button up the conversation, or are we good? Are we there? Do we fully complete it, or are we going into like something else?
I just had one more point I wanted to
Please
ask
ask
you
your
guys.
question, Greg.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just
Permission
said-
granted.
Thank you.
What do you got?
Proceed. Yeah. Is it a concern that Matt Eberflus doesn't have a coaching tree? Doesn't have like. I get you're going to interview all these guys, but like,
Well, you're not impressed with Alan Williams?
Well, right. That's what concerns me is like
The
we're
Flus
just kind
tree.
of pulling from all these different places, and most coaches like have guys that they've already had connections with that are proven winners, and it just doesn't feel like Matt Eberflus has that connection with anybody.
That's an interesting.
Well, he's only been in the league for 15 years or whatever.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I do know what you're saying. Yes, I think that's concerning.
And Ryan Poles is now in these interviews, so like we can't even depend on Matt to make the right hire. We got to have Ryan Poles hold his hand through this. Like
That's a excellent underlining there by you, Gregory. That here's a dude who's been around the league forever. He finally gets his chance. Let me build out this staff, and everybody he hires gets fired. In essence, whoops.
Well, we had that. I might have actually. I may have given you permission to delete that yesterday. I can't remember if that was one. We had the graphic last week though of the amount of coaches that have already had to be replaced in 2 years under Matt Eberflus.
In essence, the entire staff.
Well,
Chris Morgan's still here.
Chris Morgan's still here. Yeah. Yeah.
The
So yeah,
running
no,
backs-
that's 100% a concern going forward.
The DC, the OC, the QB coach, the wide receiver
There you
coach,
go.
the running back coach, the interim running back coach, the assistant tight ends coach. Nah, nah, nah.
And but my other point is like of those guys. So Alan Williams came from Indy, right?
Yeah.
But like Luke Getsy, you said that was a Flus guy, but like how connected were they? You know, in comparison to because like anytime a coach gets offered a job, they're normally asked like, okay, who would you hire? And like I don't know, it just doesn't feel like there's any true connections with any of these hires outside of Alan Williams, who we all know how that ended up, or at least we kind of know.
It-
you know, so it's just like it's concerning to me now that we're just kind of It feels like now with these offensive coordinators that they're interviewing that it's completely detached. Like they're separate entities. Eberflus in the defense, and then the offensive coordinator they're going to hire who they're going to attach with the quarterback. It's like two completely separate entities.
Agreed, and it's all like just looking at it in its totality of every decision that needs to be made this offseason. It's almost like doubling down on Matt Eberflus could have been the most risky play they could have done. We are going forward here, despite the amount of staff changes that we've had and the amount of games that we've blown, and just sort of a lack of evidence that we're right, other than the fact that the locker room didn't completely melt down this year. I'm not even saying they're wrong at all, but it's an aggressive play.
Yeah. Football CF Candy, decent point here, 499 pounds sterling, unpopular opinion, but the Bears hiring Belichick and Vrabel would be terrible. The playoffs show you it's a QB offense league. Johnson and Slowick are the best candidates. I mean,
those are two other interesting candidates, though, right?
Well, sure, yes. I mean, but I understand the point. Like, if we're talking about why did the Bears not get in a bidding war for Bill Belichick or Mike Vrabel, like the reality is there's probably a better argument that if you're going to move on from Flus, it was for Harbaugh because he's an offensive guy, or one of these other young offensive candidates, because you want the offensive head coach to pair with Caleb Williams, and but that's
yeah.
I'm not trying to give the Bears a pass, but like how much longer are we going to talk this offseason about? It's done. Like Flus is the head coach, man. They're not changing.
No, 100%.
Like every day I feel like I get asked, do you think the Bears are still going to fire Flus? No, they already had a press conference. They said he's coming back.
Well,
they're interviewing OC candidates.
Yeah, but
they're not interviewing head coaches. It's over.
That's how much we really don't want him here. We just
Yeah.
really hoping is there a chance?
It's
It's like, Dumb and Dumber. You're saying there's a chance.
you're more speaking for yourself at this particular.
Oh, I am most definitely speaking for
Yeah.
myself. Yes.
Yeah. Well, you said I,
okay, fine.
Lawrence P. Benedetto.
Well, but I'm saying the people that keep asking.
Yeah,
That's
no,
the
I got it. But it's more so the way, for me at least, that I'm digesting this is just watching how this is spinning, and Harbaugh showing up in Atlanta yesterday ratcheted it up for me just a second.
Yeah.
Because it's not like he's going direct hit. Because it was before, it was the Chargers, it was the Raiders. Oh, now he's in Atlanta, where Belichick supposedly, if you talk to those in the know, he's definitely going to Atlanta because of his connections. Well, maybe he is, but Jim Harbaugh was there then yesterday as just like a backup choice. He's willing to take the interview.
Ed Brown, $4.99 super chat. I want to be a diehard, but what are the benefits for out-of-state Bear fans? There's a ton of benefits. There's the entire Bears community we have behind the scenes in the Discord. With a lot of good people that have come together to become friendly and have nuanced conversation about all this going on that you can't have on Twitter without apparently death threats, which have been rumored. That does not happen in the Die Hard Discord, and we have we've been hanging out in the voice chat during games too. We have happy hours. You get a T-shirt when you sign up, and you get 20% off all merchandise always in the CHGO locker when you are a Die Hard. And if you're ever able to make it, since you're out of state, to any of our events, like we're already talking about our draft party coming up. We have meetups and tailgates throughout the season. You get discounted on all of those as well.
But really right now, like we were talking about earlier, the biggest offseason, this is the home of the biggest offseason in Chicago Bears history right here. And Adam Hoge's putting out a newsletter every week, different things. He just had one come out exclusive to diehards only, talking about his, Caleb Williams early evaluations. I heard you say you were about 10 games in to every snap of Caleb Williams, so you're going to get more updates on that.
And Gary's going to hold me to doing a film study in the in the voice channel soon.
Yep.
He says the voice channel's the best thing for diehards lately.
Sit in the room for film study. That's right. Shout out to Gary.
It's a sweet underlining by Gary, and the diehard chat is like there's about 15 to 25 people in there, and we're all hanging out, and like literally everyone's talking, and it's just it's a cool
top
scene.
100 draft guide that we did last year, the last couple of years, to get you ready for the draft, not just the quarterbacks, but everybody. Because let's not forget, the Bears also pick at 9, and we all seem to completely be missing that point because we're obsessed with the quarterback conversation.
Right, they have 2 top 9 picks. And just to correct you, because I think this is important, I like calling it the Bears 100, not the top 100, because there's a ton of top 100s out there.
Sure.
This is
Bears.
This is Bear centric.
Yeah.
Our rankings are tailored to the scheme the Bears run, the positions they need. So it's going to look different. The whole point of it is to hopefully look more like what the Bears' actual draft board would be, because every team's draft board looks different depending on the schemes they run, the players that they target, and the more we're learning about Ryan Poles and all that. So Kevin Kadek, actually, this morning, he's holding my feet to the fire. We have to get the top 20 out by February 1st. Woof. So there you go. February 1st. I got about 2 weeks here, or I'm fired.
Speaking of fired, Joe Calcagno, $4.99. Why do people lose their minds over not interviewing coaches who have all been fired?
Well, hired to get fired business there, Joe. Who are we losing our minds over that?
Vrabel?
Okay, I mean,
Belichick didn't really get fired, but the time was over.
I mean, I don't hold somebody getting fired in the NFL or in the media against them, because it's just what
I slid that in there.
Thank you. Hired to be fired, man. Times are a-changing.
Well, no, I mean, look at college. College coaches used to get at least 5 seasons to, turn a program around. Then it was suddenly guys are getting fired after 4. Then it was 3, which is not even a full, class, if you will. It's, the guys hired. Now, some coaches are getting fired after 2 years, which is crazy. It's a very win-now mode, and people can't wait, and people are very impatient.
Not here in Chicago, baby. We're building.
Yeah. Keep the Flus forever.
I mean, 5-year plan, 5-year Flus. Hoge?
Yeah.
Let's make it 10.
All right.
I think it's time, buddy.
Yes, it is time to talk about Midtown. Midtown, we love Midtown.
I love Midtown.
I actually haven't been to Midtown yet this week, and I'm not feeling good about it, quite frankly. Midtown.com/CHGO. It's where you got to go.
Be there tomorrow, Coach Sam. Let's go.
I was supposed to go to my Apex class this morning. Instead, I decided to do 2 hours of more work. So that's a me problem. But these are all the problems we're working through, because we got to motivate ourselves to get to the gym. And Midtown's the place you want to go. They have locations for you wherever you live in the area. Palatine in the northwest suburbs, Bannockburn in the north shore, Willowbrook in the southwest suburbs, and, of course, downtown, Midtown Athletic Club and Hotel in the middle of Bucktown and Lincoln Park. Midtown Palatine launched a multi-million-dollar transformation of their club, which will be complete soon in early 2024. Right now, Midtown is offering no initiation fees this January at their Bannockburn, Palatine, and Willowbrook locations. No initiation fees for the rest of this month. Get in now. Midtown is something for everyone, whether you're single, whether you're a family with kids, you're just maybe looking to make some lifestyle changes. Midtown's got you covered. And I don't know, I like the yoga. I know Carm likes the yoga.
Love a good yoga.
You can't get your tooth knocked out in yoga, buddy.
Sometimes I catch Carm just looking at me in the weirdest ways possible.
Well, because your boy Boogie's calling you up. Pay attention to the ads. Get off of Twitter, buddy. Listen to Hoge. It's not even an ad.
You know what, YBB? Get off my ass.
Okay, then.
All right, back to the ad. Boxing. The boxing. I got to try the boxing. It looks fun, and they have these boxing classes that with the music flowing.
I'm tempted to try some boxing.
Yeah, and I need to hit up. Was it Coach Sam?
Coach Sam.
For my tennis lesson?
Yeah.
We got to get that done. Head over to midtown.com/CHGO to find out more and to tour the Midtown Athletic Club nearest you. Good chance you'll see Carm there.
Yes, indeed.
I'm pretty sure he lives there.
I am thinking about taking a permanent residence because it is the nicest health club going. But I'm also, when I'm going secondary market, you know who I'm using for my tickets? That's right. I'm using Game Time Tickets. Download that app right now. Last-minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals, which I love. You can sit in this section or that section for this low price. They're not going to tell you the exact seat. Who cares? You're getting in for the lowest price. That's the way to do it. Of course, yours truly then might not ever sit in that seat. Find a great seat. I encourage that fully. Look. Easy to find. Buy tickets for every kind of event that we got going on here, and their lowest price guarantees, the event cancellation protection, job loss protection, and game time tickets has all the deals for you on tickets right up to the start of the event, and also the protection for you that you don't get elsewhere. This is what you do. Download the Game Time app, create yourself an account, then you want to use the code CHGO, and then you get $20 off your first purchase. How sweet is that? Again, one more time, create an account. Use that redeem code CHGO. Get yourself $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, beautiful diagrams for tonight with the Northwestern Wildcats and the Maryland Terrapins at Welsh Ryan Arena.
You know what? That reminds me. Biggest ticket mistake. This is looking like my biggest ticket mistake
Ever.
of my life.
You really blew this one.
I really blew this one.
Yeah, I wasn't hard enough on you at the time. There's no way the ticket price is going down. Buy them now.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
I know.
Caitlin Clark?
Caitlin
Yeah.
Clark coming to Northwestern
You could have made some
in a
pretty
couple
pennies.
weeks. Dude, I checked Game Time. Those ticket prices are...
150.
Dude, they're like... I think they'll come back down a little bit from where they are now. But they're like... When I looked, they were like $500.
Yeah. Yeah, well, people...
And they were $25 face
Yeah.
value.
You could have made some dough
Yeah.
and or gone to the game.
No, but I don't want to make dough. I want to go to the game. And now I can't go to the game.
You
Yeah,
wanna
no
make
big
dough.
deal last night. Caitlin
Unless,
had,
Carm, you're going to come through with some Northwestern tickets for me.
I have a shot at them. I don't know.
I would. I think CHGO.
When is that game?
CHGO needs to be courtside for the Caitlin Clark game.
I'll go. She finished with a cool 32-7-5 last night in a romp over, who the hell was it? I don't even know. Wisconsin? I think they beat Wisconsin last night.
Yeah, they played Wisconsin last night.
I mean, she's ridiculous. Love
Go
Caitlin
Hawks.
Clark.
Tough night for my Badgers.
We'll be able to get you a ticket. He got me one for the Northwestern Purdue game.
I was just really happy I did that.
He's like pulling teeth.
This is
Get
a
it.
harder ticket.
Apparently not too hard for you.
This is a tougher. I'm sorry. No disrespect to your Purdue Boilermakers.
Did
This
you hear what he just said? Pulling
It was
teeth.
like pulling teeth to get one. I got one ticket out of him.
and one less tooth. Speaking of
I
pulling
got
teeth,
one ticket out of him.
look at that.
It'll be the last one.
All right. Dave Klug, I hope I'm saying that right, had an interesting thread on Twitter yesterday.
The Cluj.
Is it Kluge?
I don't know.
I think it's Klug. Right?
Let's go with Klug.
Let's go with Klug.
The Kluger.
Shout out to Dave. He did a lot of hard work.
Dude's
here.
good.
Yeah, we'll try to translate this to the show as much as possible. But in conclusion, draft Caleb Williams. Here's what he said. I poured over the last 30 years of first-round quarterback data, found out that drafting at number one overall gives teams overwhelmingly better odds at finding success for their franchise. My gut told me all top 10 picks at quarterback are the same, but the data painted a very different picture. Success is an arbitrary term and can have a lot of different definitions, so I chose 5 benchmarks that could indicate success. 4,000-yard passing season, 30-plus touchdown season, 80-plus career starts, winning a playoff game, and making a Pro Bowl. Here's what Dave found. Quarterbacks drafted number one overall. There's 20 total in the last 30 years, which is kind of wild. Although maybe not that surprising. 20 of those quarterbacks, QBs drafted number one overall, there's 20 of them in the last 30 years, hit these benchmarks at an astonishing rate. 70% of them threw for 4,000 yards at least once. 45% of them hit 30-plus touchdowns. So that's the lowest of all these numbers. 81% got to 80-plus starts in the league. 70% of them won a playoff game, and 70% of them went to the Pro Bowl. By these standards, only Bryce Young, Jamarcus Russell, David Carr, and Tim Couch are the only busts. And obviously Bryce Young, it's not
Right.
fair to put him even in that category yet.
So 3 of the 20 didn't hit one of these benchmarks.
So 3 of the 20 actually came legitimate busts. I mean, that's which, and there's more. I encourage you to find this on Twitter. I don't know that we have to go through all
and,
of it.
And to me, the biggest stat of all of those is the starts. Like 4,000 yards in one season, that's a low threshold. 70% hit it. Touchdowns, like you said, 45%, but that's only one season. 45% hit it. That's surprisingly low. But the 80-plus starts, 80% of them. So that means that they were starter worthy.
Yeah.
You know,
For like 5 whole seasons, yeah.
For at least 5 seasons, exactly. So that's the biggest one to me. Starter worthy. You know, the word generational continues to get thrown around, and I think it's used in a lot of ways to say, oh, you're putting way too high expectations on a guy, and he's not going to live up to those. And I agree. That word should be, you should tread lightly using that word. But being, like you were talking about earlier, I heard you on your 670 score hit, Hoge, talking about the floor.
Yeah.
And how high his floor is. And this goes to show you how high the floor of all these number 1 overall quarterbacks taken. They at least were starter worthy. 80% of them. I think to me that stands out the most.
Right. And then he goes on to say, looking at quarterbacks then that are drafted from pick number 2 to 32, so basically the rest of the first round, there's 63 of those. And the hit rates on those same categories plummets. Only 25% hit 4,000 yards. Only 24% hit 30-plus TDs. 35% hit 80 starts even. That's a low hit rate. So the bottom line is there's a huge difference between drafting a quarterback number 1 and drafting them anywhere else. And I think, at least in the first round, and I think back to what you just said, me taking all this data and trying to reason with it, I think goes back to that floor idea. And I think that these are some of the lessons I've learned from, you know, how many years? I think it's been 13 years that I've really tried to spend a lot more time watching these quarterbacks. And I can honestly tell you this year I'm way farther ahead than I've ever been in any other year looking at these guys. And I think that's where you make mistakes is when you are projecting so much to the ceiling and you're taking guys that have a lower floor than, you know, somebody else because you just think the ceiling is so high. Honestly, you know, I know this came up in the comments yesterday because I did have Zach Wilson ahead of Justin Fields. Now, to be clear, I also had Justin Fields as a first-round talent. Like Justin Fields. Zach Wilson, I fell in the same trap the Jets obviously did because you watched his raw talent and you're like, there's a higher ceiling here with Zach Wilson than there is with Justin Fields. But where the Bears actually ended up winning that was Justin Fields' floor was higher. And we've seen that. We've seen that Justin Fields is a starting quarterback. His raw ability to just be special as an athlete gives him a chance to have success and will continue to have that as long as he's healthy. What I think is getting missed in this Caleb Williams conversation a little bit is I think everybody, even the biggest Justin Fields supporter, understands that Caleb Williams has this huge ceiling that's probably higher than Justin Fields. I think they're, over-convincing themselves that Justin Fields can still reach that ceiling based on 3 years of data, when I think it's way more likely we know who Justin Fields is and he's going to continue to be that. And the fear of Caleb Williams being such a bust it's that fear they can't get over. I saw Cap go on this rant yesterday, right, on ESPN 1000. And it's like, what are you afraid of?
Right.
What are you afraid of? And what I think is being missed here with Caleb Williams, I am telling you, and I've never felt more confident than this. And that includes Trevor Lawrence, who I had number 1. And the big reason why I had Trevor Lawrence number 1 is because his floor was so high. Like, you knew at minimum Trevor Lawrence was going to be what he is right now. Now, has he reached his ceiling? No. He's got a long way to go. But you know this dude's a good NFL starting quarterback. Caleb Williams' floor, in my opinion, is already higher than that. And I think his floor is at least to what Justin Fields already is. And I think that reality is why they're going to end up drafting Caleb Williams. Because I don't think it's as risky as people think it might be. Because I feel very, very confident at minimum he is going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, that he's going to reach some of these benchmarks mentioned in this tweet by David Klug, many of which these benchmarks have never been reached by 4,000 plus yards in a season by any Bears quarterback, and Justin Fields has hit 0 of these benchmarks at this point in his career.
$4.99 from our general manager Jake Flanagan, who's debating whether he wants you to work here anymore. 19 of the previous 24 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks were not drafted with the number 1 pick. That is how I define success. And then $4.99 more from our leader. The fear is that we finally have our quarterback and we are going to let him go. That's the real fear.
He's going to kill us.
Yeah.
At some point
I am a
this
little
offseason.
nervous. I am a little nervous.
Sometimes we have a hard time on this show figuring out who said what. That was a Hoge situation right there for upper management. Look, those numbers and should give the Bears a certain level of comfort in making the choice to draft Caleb if they go that route, which we all think they're going to go that route. However, getting away from the numbers for just 1 second, I spent my night last night trying to figure out how to ruin someone's life, and then the rest of my night was spent watching Caleb Williams tape, and I enjoyed that part of my night more. You can see the immense talent. It jumps off the page. The arm strength is insane. His ability, I'm sure people have watched this by now, but just in case you haven't, his ability to do what Matthew Stafford did last week as far as throwing ridiculous sidearm throws through insane windows. He has that. That is a rare ability. Now, Justin has some of that too, by the way. And Justin can be moving left, throw back right. Like he's these things that quarterbacks of today have at an elite level. I mean, Caleb is way up there with it. He has strong ability to hit the home run ball. Now, when you watch him, it's very clear that he does not like playing small. He likes playing big. He likes to hold on to it and go for home runs, which there's this guy's running free, wide open, doesn't throw it to him. And there's multiples of these as he's trying to hit the home run. Now, is that something, if you're the Bears or anybody who's looking at him, can I coach him to take the check down? Can I coach him to hit his first read? Is it a fear thing with him? Is he not seeing it? Or is he just trying to get the big play? That's something that I would, you would be going through the tape with him. What are you seeing here? Why are you passing on this wide open receiver that's 10 yards right in front of your face? If that, by the way, we're experienced, you wouldn't say this part of it, but there were experiences in Chicago where it just seems to me that, Justin, at least over the middle, sometimes he either A, doesn't see it, or B, is afraid it's going to get picked. And maybe you can make the argument that was coached out of him because of the incompetence on the Bears staff as far as making Justin Fields the best he could be in his 3 years here. But the talent is extreme. But the point of this long-winded Carman is that he is going to have a learning process like everybody else does coming in here. You do not see a perfect quarterback when you watch the whole tape. And my biggest concern, too, is his tight window throws, that's not his strength. It's here, it's over there, it's up here. So he's got some beauties, but he also, I don't
disagree with you on that. I think his accuracy is insane.
I saw a lot of throws, man. A lot of them he's just a little bit. It's not. I mean, guys, it's not as tight as I would. If for somebody who I could just absolutely guarantee this guy is nails, he's going to be completely insane. He doesn't throw the ball like that to me.
But guys, this isn't like Josh Allen, coming from a school you're not going to watch. Caleb Williams won the Heisman last year. Yeah. He plays at a huge program. He's not a secret. Like what he's done, and I get we all have to watch the tape, and there's further evaluation. Ryan Poles is even making right now, but just like Justin Fields, we know who he is. And to me, I don't think Poles is going to overthink it. We're going to have to wait to find out. But, I just think that, to your point about the floor, it's not and the other point that has been made a lot is it's not even against Caleb versus Justin. It's Caleb versus the trade. Yeah. Because that's a part of the deal. If it's balancing against who's, if it was just 1-for-1, you're going to take the younger quarterback when they have similar ceilings, if not arguably a higher ceiling, and you're comparing their floors. But it's also the trade you have to take into account. And do you want to build the team around, before you make that, home run swing for the quarterback, or are you going to just take the quarterback now because this is your opportunity here sitting at 1 and you may not be able to get there again? I mean, those are the things you have to take into consideration.
Right, but the part of that is that Poles has to remind himself, and I'm sure he will. If you're right, you'd get 1,000 times more than you're going to have to give that you would get for the trade that you would get right now. If he is anywhere close to a stud quarterback, you ain't getting him for 3-1 picks. It would take 7 or 6 or 5, whatever it would be. So that's the bet you're making.
And we see a lot of because us here, we're in a lot of agreement on a lot of this stuff, but to try to give a voice to the people that have the argument on the other side of this coin, Doug Dyer puts in the chat, Justin Fields at USC playing USC opponents would have been generational. Yeah, well, Doug, go see what players that play for USC.
I actually completely disagree with that.
Right.
Justin Fields had
go look at Justin.
Literally 3 years, it ended up being 4 first-round wide receivers that he was throwing the ball to. He had an NFL offensive
right, but he's talking
line.
about who Justin would have played opponent-wise at USC. But to your point, which was the point I was going to get to as well, you're right. The teammates is also a factor. If you put Caleb Williams on Ohio State when Justin Fields was there with 3 first-round top 10 wide receivers, or people bring up Joe Burrow, put any of these top quarterbacks with Jamar Chase and Justin frickin' Jefferson on the same team. Are you kidding me? That's not even comparable. The other point that I wanted to make quickly was when you talk about trying to balance, because you saw, San Francisco built the team first, and now they've figured out their quarterback. They also, to Adam Johnson's point today on Twitter, they also traded 3 first-round picks to try to get their quarterback. And they haven't skipped a beat, even though they missed on the quarterback. Eagles, same thing. Carson Wentz giving up 2 first-rounders. Hell, the Bears even gave up 2 first-rounders to move up to get Justin Fields. The thing that I think people are also missing a part of this discussion is the Bears are one of the first teams in NFL history and the first team since 1983 to have more than 3 wins and have the number 1 pick going into the draft. Now, there's been teams in the offseason that have traded up to the number 1 pick that pass that criteria, but they had to give up future assets to get there.
Yes.
This is a team that has 7 wins that headed into the offseason with the number 1 pick. This is one of the most unique situations in NFL history for any franchise.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
They're in a great spot.
Especially because they still have the number 9 pick. 8 picks after they could potentially draft their quarterback, when most of these teams are like the ones you just referenced, where they're moving up.
Right.
That's what the Bears have had to be.
And wouldn't have a first-round pick for 2 more years.
And they're giving up the first-round pick. The Bears can take this swing and draft another player 8 picks later. That doesn't happen. It does not happen. I mean, and so it's now, and I think what's amazing to me is it's still January 17th right now, and I think people are coming along to this idea. At least I feel like we've gotten to the majority of understanding that, there's really no debating the tape. I know some people are, and some people responded to my tweet last night. Oh, he's playing Nevada. Okay, well, Jordan Love played in the same freaking conference, and I gave him a first-round grade too, and he seems like he's pretty good. So, I almost feel like looking back on Ryan Poles' press conference last week, even he was admitting, yeah, we know what the tape is. The tape says he's really, really, really good. That's not what this is about.
We need to talk to the guy, right.
Yeah, and which is this super chat here from SPR, $5 Canadian. What are the odds Caleb passes Poles' character test based on what we know about both men so far? Caleb seems a lot like a me guy.
Hey. We got some me guys here on this set. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Don't hate on me guys.
Well, first of all, Carm loves me guys. He wants me guys.
Well, everyone's a me guy, or else you wouldn't be me. You.
Us.
Jesus.
You wouldn't make it to that level if you didn't have some me, but go ahead.
Yes, okay. I agree with that point. But you want him to be a team guy. Can we just stop rushing to judgment? I don't think we know anything about Caleb Williams, the person. There's so much nonsense out there.
I know.
And it's gotten to the point that we got people on podcasts saying they got dirt on them, but they're not willing to say what it is. That's BS, man. Like, put it out there or keep it to yourself. Like, you're just smearing somebody's character without actually providing any proof.
He cried to his mom. Meanwhile, while the same people are crying on Twitter or on their podcasts or in the chat.
Crying to his mom after losing a football game that he cares a ton about I'm sorry, if you don't get it.
I don't like him. He cares too much about football.
Right. He's showing that he cares, and it meant a ton to him, and he has emotions. If you have a problem with that, then you need to look at the way you tamp down your own emotions and are lying to yourself.
And the idiots that bring up the finger painting thing, like, the only problem with the finger painting was that he wrote the words F Utah on there and then got his ass kicked by Utah. like if you're going to do that, you better win the game. Like, the only problem with that was that he didn't win the game. So, I think that's probably a lesson learned. Also, we talked about this over and over again with Jalen Carter last year. Can we please remember that these are young adults still? Like, they're early 20s in their life. They are going to learn things. They're going to be very different 5 years from now. There is no exact science in this from that standpoint. And you need to allow room for growth as well. I'm just going to go off of what the digging I've been able to do, which admittedly, and I say this all the time, this is the hardest part, especially in the media, of evaluating draft prospects, because you do not get the access that the teams do. And even the teams make all these mistakes because, in my opinion, they can't get the whole picture on these guys. It's really that hard. So we're not going to be able to answer questions like that fully. There is going to be some speculation in there over the next few months. There just is. But to this point, no one has been able to tell me a single thing about Caleb Williams that I've been like, oh, that's a red flag.
I mean, trying to look at the glass half full, I don't think there's any quarterback outside of Caleb Williams that would be more prepared for the kind of pressure and scrutiny that you face here in Chicago from the media and the fans. He's been, the reigning Heisman Trophy winner who's getting picked apart for saying he's going to go home and cuddle with his dogs, painting his fingernails, crying to his mom. He's on Dr. Pepper and Wendy's commercials. He's getting into Maseratis. Like, this is a new era of collegiate athletes that are coming out. A lot of times in years past, you'd have a guy come into the league or any professional sports and a lot of money. They sign a check and all of a sudden they've got a lot of money in their pocket, and it changes. It would change anyone. It would change how I would act at that age, or even right now at 38. So but now these guys already have that money in their pocket. They're already on those commercials, and he's already been under the spotlight when it comes to scrutiny outside of football. So if anything, he is ready for all the picking apart that we seem to do here in Chicago with our athletes.
I mean, we are definitely in a new era, which brings us to one of our fine partners, which of course is ComEd, and it is getting easier, Gregory, for businesses to switch to electric vehicles. Maybe Caleb will get himself an electric vehicle when he gets here. That's something we can all get behind. It's for the health of the planet and for the well-being of all of us who share it.
That's right. The electric grid is evolving to meet your cleaner energy needs as we all move with confidence towards an electric tomorrow. Whether you have one delivery van or a whole fleet of shipping trucks, ComEd can help guide you to make the changes that make sense.
We've got something more on the tape that we didn't get to. But first off, what should business owners do?
Go to ComEd.com/clean to learn more about the resources, fleet rebates, and infrastructure incentives available to help businesses go electric. If you own a business, don't wait. Start making your plan today to switch to electric vehicles. Good for business, good for the planet, good for all of us. Go to ComEd.com/clean.
Did you say ComEd.com/clean?
Yes, sir. Go now and see how going electric connects us to a better way of doing business and a better future for generations to come.
And DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs, is bringing you an offer that'll help make the playoffs electrifying. New customers can bet $5 on any game and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. You have to take advantage of that this weekend. Already looking at these lines and kind of liking the Bucs already. Not to win. I'd like the Lions to win, but I think the game might be close.
I like that play.
I think it might be closer than Everybody's jumping on the Lions bandwagon, maybe a little bit too much. They only won by 1.
Little too liony out there, aren't you?
Lions gonna lion.
Little too Dan Campbell, aren't you? I don't know where that I haven't done that voice in a long time, and I feel really good that it just came back.
Okay. Well, you can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. You'll feel good about that, too, now. And you'll use code CHGO. What will happen is if you're a new customer, you can bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code. Guys, code
CHGO?
The crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.1800gambler.net. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino Resort in Kansas. 21 plus. Age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gambling resources.
And are you in the market for a new vehicle? If you are, got some great news for you. Our partner, Ray Chevrolet, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram in Fox Lake is entering their Ray Resolution with the Start Something New sales event. How sweet is that to start the year? You know what that means, Braggs? You'll be able to shop incredible savings on every new vehicle in stock because they want to clear the lot to make room for the brand new 2024 vehicles. I got to go up and see Ray. For a limited time, get up to $9,000 off the new Jeep models with dealer discount. $9,000.
Oh,
9G,
let me
buddy.
tell you, my Jeep came in handy last week.
Bet it did.
With the snow. It's like the snow's not even there.
They've got great popcorn up at Ray CDJR. You can literally just hang out there all day. That's not all, though. Shop their last call on remaining 2023 Dodge Challengers and Charger models, including Hellcats, Scat Packs, and more. Dodge is the most powerful muscle car brand, so you won't want to miss on their last call. With over 20 Dodge muscle cars to choose from, you'd look good in that, Braggs. At Ray CDJR, you'll always be able to shop one of the Chicagoland's largest inventories and drive home with more money in your pocket than you'd expect thanks to the Ray Price Promise. Don't miss out. Shop great deals all month long. Save big because Ray CDJR makes buying a new vehicle more affordable than ever. And by the way, fans get a free oil change when you mention CHGO at the service center or mention CHGO when you book online at raycdjr.com/service. raycdjr.com/service. But you do have to schedule before January the 31st. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, you have to check out the team at Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram because they're the only team we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake. For more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or visit raycdjr.com. Serving the community since 1963.
That reminds me, I got to get my oil change there. Maybe head up there this weekend. All right. By the way, for those just making sure you guys know this, but the game being played between the Bucks and the Lions is being played indoors.
Oh, don't pile on her.
What?
Braggs.
Yeah, there was a reporter, I don't know her name, but she asked Todd Bowles of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers if they were prepared to play in 16-degree weather in Detroit.
Whoops.
And Todd Bowles was like, well, they do play in a dome. And then he nicely massaged it at the end and said, so no, we're not going to prepare for the few minutes we got to, walk in the cold into the stadium.
I think they should prep for that.
It's a tough question.
It'd be really low class to pile on that or, pull out select clips where people got things wrong. That'd be a low class.
Yeah, who would do that? No one would do that.
Now, if she said, pull the clip where I asked that, and then somebody did, then it,
Yeah, no, that would be a good point. Hey, one more thing.
Look, we've all asked stupid questions. I've had my fair share.
That's an all-timer.
Not knowing that the game is being played.
Right, because people are like, do your research. Well, there really isn't
There's
any.
not much
it's not research.
I-
They just played the other day.
I don't know. Like, I'm with you. I don't want to pile on, but I'm also wondering.
It's so bad that it's mean to pile on. Unlike you, where it's completely fine.
I don't know. We are having a meeting about that.
There's a good geography going on here. All right, hey, can I just make one last Caleb comment, Hoge? I know you're past the tape, but maybe Ryan Poles is past the tape. But
because we're never gonna have this is our last chance to talk about Caleb
That's
Williams
good
for the rest of the
Okay.
It's our last Caleb Williams show.
it's pertinent because I watched it last night. You do see that he trusts that arm a lot. Like, he sees dudes open and he fires. There's not a lot of anticipatory throws. Would you agree with that?
Wait, what?
Dude runs pattern before he comes out of pattern.
Yes.
Ball is out, a la Tua. I don't see that a ton with Caleb.
You need to watch more film.
You think
I'm
so?
going to be completely honest with you. Yes.
Okay.
He is light years ahead of Justin Fields when it comes to anticipatory throws. Right. Is he to Tua's level? I'm not sure anybody's at Tua's level. Tua has an uncanny knack for it that makes up for a lot of his other deficiencies. Caleb throws with anticipation.
Okay.
Yes, he does.
Okay. All right. I will continue to watch as I'm doing this.
A lot of throws.
This is all I'm going to do.
It's the beauty of this guy. He's played for 3 years, 2 big-time programs, unlike Mitch, who played like 11 games at US.
I mean, this was a very well broken down tape that pointed it out, and it does pop. It popped off on that tape.
The thing I think he gets into trouble with is sometimes he's looking for the home run too much, and he misses guys that are open underneath.
I called that out earlier. Yep.
And then I think a lot of these hero throws that he attempts to make that miraculously he has completed, there's like almost one on every single tape. I worry that those will be intercepted at the NFL level because the windows are just not going to be as big. But part of the reason why I think he will be able to adjust to the windows is because I do think he throws with anticipation.
Right, because the question is, it's not, well, he doesn't throw, in structure or can't throw in structure. There are times where he doesn't and should, but it isn't that he can't. He has shown enough tape where he's shown he can. Now, that is the job of an OC. That's why it is so important who they hire here to rein that in, to get the best out of him so you can get him to play in structure but not take away that ability to make those creative outside the pocket plays.
What I think is being blatantly missed in the clear type they have for an offensive coordinator here that they've been interviewing is, can they make it work with Justin? Sure. But this system, this Sean McVay, whether you're going Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, basically what the Bears have already been running for the most part, requires anticipation. It requires better timing. The things that Justin's failed to do consistently. So by keeping the same structure, to me, it's even more reason why I think they are going to draft Caleb. Because when I look at Caleb, and specifically in my notes when you talk about anticipation, it's curls and intermediate out routes that I do see him throwing balls out before the receiver's coming back or breaking out. And that, and oh, by the way, just the way he snap throw, the quick game, which I've already compared to Aaron Rodgers and will continue to do, is just at a completely different level. Justin does other things better. But for this system, to me, is a prerequisite. And Caleb has it.
Right.
So
one thing I'd like you to do, just a request from me when you're doing these breakdowns, is I would love for you to chart how many good throws he's made that are incomplete passes.
Oh,
because from watching him this
That's
year, that was something to me that stood out. Because everybody, pretends like they watch all the tape, but really they're just watching highlight reels or film breakdowns of other people that are specifically breaking down completed passes. Nobody's breaking down the incomplete passes. And I've seen more than a few over the last 2 years, and I've watched a lot of his games where he throws an amazing throw that goes incomplete. And it reminds me, I always stay away from Michael Jordan comparisons, but like Michael, how many times did he have a play after the whistle that never counted and is lost in the history of time? But like, I still remember those, to this day, because how that told me how special he was. So I would be curious to know how many incomplete passes you would chart that are great throws, because I know I've seen a few.
Yeah, challenge accepted.
Jordan off to Oakley, missed the layup. Jordan off to Longley, missed the dunk.
Hoge to Carm, air ball.
Yeah.
get to the supers because there's a really good one.
I'm sure the Portland Trailblazers, when they had Justin Fields at guard, said, no, we shouldn't draft Caleb Williams. Oh, wait, that was Clyde Drexler.
Wow. Braggs going over the top rope with a Drexler-Jordan count.
Yeah, Caleb isn't Jordan, but it just goes to show you.
Slow down there.
Portland used that same mindset once upon a time and said,
Is Justin Clyde?
Justin is not Clyde either, let's be clear.
I mean, but that's the point. Hey, we already have a guard. We can't draft another guard. We have Clyde Drexler. What did Bob Knight say once upon a time?
Play him at center.
Play him at center.
Yeah, but that's not quite how this works. But I
get it.
still like your comparison.
I like where you went there. That was pretty good. It's timely. All right.
See, I get a few days off and I make a bunch of great points.
That's a great idea. More days off.
Billy Sports Take. I hope that's like your real nickname. I hope people actually call you Billy Sports Take. That's fantastic.
I'm pretty sure he just signed up to become a diehard.
Awesome.
Too.
Yes, Billy.
Let's go, Billy.
I think he did. If not,
if you didn't, it'd be a great idea for you, Billy.
Back.
Thank you.
He jumps in to say, great sweatshirt, Braggs. What a win last night. IU sucks.
It's an ass whooping of IU, Gary Ross. Thank you very much.
Woof.
87-66. And the Wisconsin Badgers lost. So we're getting that Big Ten race a little tighter. Penn State storming the court for beating the number 11 team in the
you
country.
get like 5 seconds. That's enough.
Yeah.
We don't care.
Bears
Especially
on
once you bring Wisconsin into
Bears on Kawhi.
I see.
Get my team out your mouth.
$1.99. He spent $19.99 to shout out Purdue. Thank you. Hey,
That's
other teams interviewing Harbaugh makes me sad. Bears on Kawhi. I don't know about sad, but I had a reaction to it. That's for sure. George Bayless.
Barlissimo.
Why don't you read it there, brother? Because you
My
slept
thunder
with him.
buddy. That's right. Did Braggs get his crown fixed? Was it as polished as Caleb I'm a God Williams? Bear down beers in London week 6? ? And also, Lawrence, he needs you to unblock Barlissimo, please.
What, from this channel?
Yeah, we blocked him last year because me and him were fighting, but we made up.
Okay, I didn't
You guys
know
are
that.
adorable.
Good to know.
It's Mean Streets of Bears Twitter.
I like
You guys
George-
are actually dating.
I like George Bayless better. I like it's a good avatar. Do we need a Barlissimo avatar as well?
Got a beautiful fan.
You buried the lead that you blocked Barlissimo?
I didn't. We don't have to get into the weeds of why he got blocked.
We can unblock him.
But, people, sometimes they get a little crazy in the chat.
Don't be an asshole and you won't
like
get blocked.
Robert Friel or Doug Dyer and everybody else, and everybody's kind of on a warning
Keep
system.
it civil.
And if you can't keep it civil, and if you're going to be incessant, you might get the block. But
Well,
we're trying to get Barlissimo back.
Juan De La Cruz, $4.99. Caleb Williams landing in GM's hands is a result of a long, patient process he started. It's his pick, legacy. We all love Fields, but take the damn QB number 1.
Thank you, Juan.
Vinod, $1.99.
Thank you.
Just thank you. All right.
Thanks. Well, thank you.
Carm.
This is the best one today. Braggs' tooth.
That looks gnarly.
$19.99. My bad, guys. I let CHGO down. Should have held on tighter. That's a loaf on me. Braggs had to miss a couple of shows. He couldn't do them without me. Let's face it, I'm kind of the brains of the whole operation.
Well, I mean, the tooth is connected to the brain. The nerves do go to the brain.
I mean, I cannot believe that someone has created a YouTube channel, Braggs' Tooth.
That's a
Love
really...
it.
I feel like there's a 76% chance that's the Duke, but
It does feel dookie.
I still love it.
And whoever
And I hope we
it is,
keep it going.
That is true.
whoever it is, thank you very, very, very much. Alex Deno, $10. Listening to the tooth rant yesterday made me and my employees laugh our asses off. Thank you, Carm, a.k.a. the arguable GOAT. Serious question. Let's say somehow the Bears take Daniels. Is he good? Is he good?
Well, I mean, that was the title of our show, is Caleb Williams, why Caleb Williams is better than Drake Maye and Jade Daniels, so maybe we should address that.
Well, we should. Well, hang on. Let me pull up my notes.
Maybe
here.
another show. We're getting
No,
close
no,
to
no,
close.
no.
Hoge's got hot notes on this, which is why we made it the title today.
Well, by the way, I like Drake Maye a lot, but the more I watch Caleb Williams, there's a difference. And I think it has to do with that floor that I've been talking about. I think the floor on Caleb is a lot higher than Drake Maye. And let me tell you for sure, the floor is a lot higher than it is for Jayden Daniels. Because Jayden Daniels, I'll give you a sneak peek to the Bears 100. I still have to organize this a little bit better. But here's my notes from watching some Jayden Daniels so far. Great touch on the deep ball. Very few examples of him reading the whole field. Accuracy is shaky. He looks really good throwing to Malik Neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
When, it's kind of like the Justin Fields, DJ Moore thing. Like when he throws it to Malik Neighbors, things look excellent. Elite running ability, but he's not as strong as Justin Fields. So he can run when he gets out in the open field, and that's going to be fun to watch at the NFL level. But he does not have that same lower body strength to shake off sacks and escape the way that Justin Fields does. There's a huge difference between Daniels and Caleb Williams when it comes to quick perimeter passes. He's not nearly as quick, and he's not nearly as accurate. Not seeing a ton of anticipation on his throws. There was a lot of, at least on the Alabama tape, there was a lot of cadence and false start issues, which speaks to operational stuff. And then he also suffered a concussion in that game against Alabama. He just turned 23. He spent 3 years at Arizona State before transferring to LSU. Of course, won the Heisman Trophy this past year. And if you are into stats, which is not how I would grade these things, but stats-wise, let's give him his props. 3,812 passing yards this year with 40 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. And one of those interceptions was in that Alabama game, and the ball was tipped. So, I don't even know if you put that one on him. Insane numbers this year. That's a crazy touchdown to interception ratio.
Yeah. I have not heard
Maybe
anybody.
we can get one of the guys he throws to.
Well, right. And we can move on because Cubs is coming up. But I haven't seen anybody come out with a hot take that Caleb's not the number 1 pick yet.
No, and if there is an argument, it's...
People are trying to just so they can be different. That's all it is.
Yeah. Well, difference okay.
SPR Super Chat $5. I'm still flabbergasted. The Bears talk about, quote, building championship teams, yet polls choose to stick with Eberflus over Belichick, Harbaugh, and Vrabel Wild. We touched on that one today, SPR. Appreciate you. Parker S., $1.99. Can you guys guess on when we will know our QB by? I'll say April the 21st.
We are 99 days away from the draft. We
we're
should
under
have had
100.
some sort of celebration for the 100, but
In 99 days, we'll know.
Let's do a poll. Let's do a lunch poll here. I'm taking April 21. When do you think we'll know?
I still think it's going to be before free agency that they're going to either trade the pick or trade Justin.
Okay, so
When did
March.
you say?
Before free agency. So early March.
That makes me happy.
What are you taking, Gregory, in this game that I just created? Lawrence, you're in this too.
April 25th.
Day of, okay.
God, I will die. I might literally have a heart attack on our show.
That'd
if
be
that happened.
terrible.
2 weeks.
You should have
before
gotten
the-
your tooth fixed then.
2 weeks before the draft. I agree.
2 weeks,
And
okay.
maybe my kid
So
can
I
still
got
go to
2
college.
for Hoge. If it happens early, Hoge wins. Michael Erlander, $5. 112 and 139. That's Belichick's record as the head coach without Brady. Hard pass. I do like you underlining that as much as you'd go crazy if Bill Belichick had been named the Bears head
Chicago
coach.
driven, $5 super chat. Let's say Bears make their decision that Caleb is their guy, as I believe you all have the needle going. When do they make the decision? to
Before
move
the
you?
draft.
Yeah, before.
Same
yeah.
question. Appreciate
Yes.
the super chat, though.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
$2 from T. Lang. All right, boys. Bears getting Maye. What's your reaction?
Oh, I would be absolutely shocked. I mean, if they traded back from 1 to 2, and all Bears fans assumed that meant they're keeping Fields and drafting Marvin Harrison Jr., only to then draft Drake Maye, the shock and just reaction outrage would be biblical.
T. Lang, I'd give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'd be very nervous about it.
Yeah, I'd probably be the most okay out of all that, but I'd still think it's third on the list of most likely outcomes. I I think there's a greater chance they keep Fields than go down that
Will
route.
be interesting to see if there is an ebb and flow, because as you've pointed out, there are people like Nate Tice that have Drake Maye ahead of him, and there's a lot of people that haven't gotten deep into their evaluations of these quarterbacks yet. And typically in an offseason, there's like an ebb and flow, and people kind of start to be the leader in the race. But will Caleb ever, be off of that at any point this offseason, and the momentum, the hype switches to Drake at any moment? It will be interesting to see if that ever occurs.
MJM Pistol $5. Why is there not more talk about Bo Nix and Jayden Daniels over Caleb Williams and Drake Maye? Statistically, both were far better in 2023. Well, we're certainly having the discussion today, MJM. Thank you. And $5 from Graham F. If I had to pick between Caleb and Bajent to start a Super Bowl and win it for us tomorrow, I am choosing Bajent. Graham, I will see you at Thanksgiving dinner, even though we're just past that. Or how about let's have a party this summer. And look who's coming in late. Well, first, Matt W., $4.99. Good to see you, Matt. The best situation is drafting Caleb, Odunze, hiring Waldron or Kubiak, trading Fields to Atlanta for the 8 overall, and getting either an edge or tackle. People don't think that Bill Belichick's going to have any interest in Justin Fields, considering that they weren't aggressive to go get him and took Mac Jones at 15 the year he came out. But sure, the 8 for Justin would be insane. And lastly, Hoge, you talk to the Duke.
The Duke, $50. Jumping in here. Yeah,
Let's
the
go.
tooth was me.
Call.
Yeah, the tooth was
knew
me.
it. I felt it. I knew it. Love you, Braggs. I agree, Hoge. Dude, how can you turn down a guy who in his last college season put up 40 touchdowns and 5 interceptions? Of course, you take that guy every time, right? Congrats. You just drafted Johnny Manziel. Jake forever.
Well, that's a great underlining, Duke, because Johnny Manziel, when we're talking about drafting the person, it was clear he was an idiot.
Yeah.
You could not take that guy. That's why he fell all the way to 22.
That was wild.
Have you watched the Johnny Manziel documentary? It's wild to watch.
I need to still.
It's wild to watch.
Wait, is he talking about Caleb or Jayden Daniels here?
I think he's saying that I think it's Jayden Daniels saying like, oh, well, look at those stats.
Oh,
Let's
I
draft
see.
him.
So his point is, yes. So you can't worry about the stats. Yeah. I mean, that's why I want to give Jayden Daniels the props. I mean, his season was unbelievable. But you turn on the tape, especially like go watch a Caleb Williams game and then go watch a Jayden Daniels game. Come back to me, and if you think Jayden Daniels is a better quarterback prospect, I just don't think that will happen. I just don't think that'll happen. So appreciate the super chat, Duke. All right, we are out of here.
Yeah, Die Hard overtime coming up immediately following the show. Anybody that's a Die Hard, hop over to the Discord spaces or voice channels, and me and Carm are going to be hanging out, talking with you guys, answering any questions you guys have, or if you want to yell at us, you can do that too. And tonight at 6 p.m. Central, Corey Wooten and I will be on Bears After Dark.
Unless Greg has another medical emergency.
Yes.
Then we'll have to postpone it again.
Yes, unless that happens. Other than that, we will be live on Bears After Dark. And for all the Caleb talk we've done tonight, we all know where Corey stands. At 6 p.m. Central, we're going to do Fields talk. So everybody that's like, I want to hear about how they're keeping Fields, we're going to focus in on that at 6 p.m. Central and let Corey dig his heels in a little more on keep Fields trade pick back.
All right. And speaking of postponements, our apologies. Baldy had to reschedule, so he was not unable to make it on today's show. And we, of course, will get Brian Baldinger back on as soon as possible.
And
so,
one more postponement. The Blackhawks game tonight was postponed, so they are doing a CHGO Blackhawks show at 2:30 Central Time today instead of doing a pre- and post game. So
why was it postponed?
they are in
Because
Buffalo.
all of them had their
Snow,
teeth knocked out.
There's more snow?
I guess, yeah. So I don't know. So that game will be tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So
You know what? I can't end this
2:30.
show without bringing that up. That when Braggs posted the photo of his tooth on Twitter, he invoked Duncan Keith into the conversation as if there was some type of a comparison.
I said I looked like him.
You didn't, because Duncan Keith had half his mouth knocked out, and he missed 3 shifts.
I wasn't talking about how many shifts he missed. I was just saying I looked like him or the Blackhawks logo. Because if you look in the shirt,
That doesn't look like Duncan Keith at all.
the logo and I do look alike, though.
I like you in the logo.
The logo and I do look alike, right?
Sure.
Justin.
See you guys tomorrow.
Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.